Jai Hind everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, which is Explore Yourself, Banking and General Knowledge, etc. Jai Hind, your daily boost. Tithi Nakshatra and important anniversaries, a spiritual and historical insight of 30th January 2025, Thursday, Bengali date 16 Magh 1431. As per Beni Madhavsil Punjika, today's Tithi is Shukla Pratipad and up to 1741 hours, and after that Shukla Ditya. Today's nakshatra is Shravana nakshatra and up to 0848 hours, and after that Dhanishta nakshatra. Today is 30th day of the year. There are then 335 days left in 2025. Today is 5th Thursday of 2025. Today is Martyrs Day. Martyrs Day is recognized nationally on 30th January to mark the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi in 1948 by Nathuram Godse. On Martyrs Day, the President, the Vice President, the Prime Minister, the Defense Minister, the Chief of Defense Staff, and the three service chiefs gathered at the Samadhi at Rajghat Memorial and lay wreaths decorated with multicolored flowers. The Armed Forces personnel blow bugles sounding the last post. The inter-services contingent reverse arms as a mark of respect. A 2 minute silence in memory of Indian martyrs is observed throughout the country at 11 a.m. Participants hold all religion prayers and sing tributes. Today is Gandhi Punnatithi, 77th Mahatma Gandhi Punnatithi, 30th January 2025. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, more commonly known as Mahatma Gandhi, was assassinated on 30th January in 1948. In the memory of Mahatma Gandhi, 30th January is observed as the Shahid Divas or Martyrs Day. The anniversary of the deaths of great freedom fighters Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev Thapar, and Shivaram Rajaguri on 23rd March 1931 is also celebrated as Martyrs Day or Shahid Divas. The President, the Vice President, the Prime Minister, the Defense Minister, and the three service chiefs gather at the Samadhi at Rajghat Memorial and pay tribute to Mahatma Gandhi. Initiated freedom movements, Champaran agitations, non-cooperation movement, Namak Satyagraha, Salt March, etc. Today is Sarvodaya Day. Sarvodaya Day or Antodaya Day Divas is observed annually in India on January 30th to honor the death anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the nation. The term Sarvodaya translates the universal upliftment or progress for all, reflecting Gandhi's vision of social equality and self-reliance for all communities, especially the marginalized. This day serves as a reminder of Gandhi's principles of non-violence, ahimsa, truth, satta, and service to humanity. It is marked by prayers, tributes, and events promoting social harmony and the upliftment of the underprivileged, urging citizens to embrace his ideals for a more equitable society. Today is National Droy Dinosaur Day. National Droy Dinosaur Day is celebrated on January 30th every year. It's a day for people who love dinosaurs to be creative and use their imagination as if they were paleontologists. Today is National Croissant Day. On January 30th, we annually recognize National Croissant Day. The exact origins of National Croissant Day are unclear, but it likely emerged as a way to celebrate and promote the enjoyment of croissants. Croissants, known for their flaky and buttery layers, have a history rooted in Austria and were popularized in France in the 19th century. Today is Yodel for Your Neighbor's Day. The sounds of yodeling, melodious, funny, or croaky, will fill the air when people celebrate Yodel for Your Neighbor's Day on January 30th. Every year, the day encourages people to try their hand at yodeling. Today is death anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, 2nd October 1869 to 30th January 1948. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was an Indian lawyer, anti-colonial nationalist, and political ethicist who employed non-violent resistance to lead the successful campaign for India's independence from British rule. He inspired movements for civil rights and freedom across the world. The honorific Mahatma, from Sanskrit meaning great soul or venerable, first applied to him in South Africa in 1914, is now used throughout the world. Born and raised in a Hindu family in coastal Gujarat, Gandhi trained in the law at the Inner Temple in London and was called to the bar at the age of 22. After 2 uncertain years in India, where he was unable to start a successful law practice, Gandhi moved to South Africa in 1893 to represent an Indian merchant in a lawsuit. He went on to live in South Africa for 21 years. Here Gandhi raised a family and first employed non-violent resistance in a campaign for civil rights. In 1915, aged 45, he returned to India and soon set about organizing peasants, farmers and urban laborers to protest against discrimination and excessive land tax. Assuming leadership of the Indian National Congress in 1921, Gandhi led nationwide campaigns for easing poverty, expanding women's rights, building religious and ethnic amity, ending untouchability, and above all, achieving Swaraj or self-rule. Gandhi adopted the short dhoti woven with hand-spun yarn as a mark of identification with India's rural poor. He began to live in a self-sufficient residential community, to eat simple food and undertake long fasts as a means of both introspection and political protest. Bringing anti-colonial nationalism to the common Indians, Gandhi led them in challenging the British imposed salt tax with the 400-kilometer, 250-mile Dundee Salt March in 1930 and in calling for the British to quit India in 1942. He was imprisoned many times and for many years in both South Africa and India. Gandhi's vision of an independent India based on religious pluralism was challenged in the early 1940s by Muslim nationalism, which demanded a separate homeland for Muslims within British India. In August 1947, Britain granted independence, but the British Indian Empire was partitioned into two dominions, a Hindu majority India and a Muslim majority Pakistan. As many displaced Hindus, Muslims, and Sikhs made their way to their new lands, religious violence broke out, especially in the Punjab and Bengal. Abstaining from the official celebration of independence, Gandhi visited the affected areas, attempting to alleviate distress. In the months following, he undertook several hunger strikes to stop the religious violence. The last of these was begun in Delhi on 12th January 1948 when Gandhi was 78. The belief that Gandhi had been too resolute in his defense of both Pakistan and Indian Muslims spread among some Hindus in India. Among these was Nathuram Godse, a militant Hindu nationalist from Pune, Western India, who assassinated Gandhi by firing 3 bullets into his chest at an interfaith prayer meeting in Delhi on 30th January 1948. Gandhi's birthday, 2nd October, is commemorated in India as Gandhi Jayanti, a national holiday, and worldwide as the International Day of Non-Violence. Gandhi is considered to be the father of the nation in post-colonial India. During India's nationalist movement and in several decades immediately after, he was also commonly called Bapu, an endearment roughly meaning father. Today is death anniversary of Mr. Orville Wright, 19th August 1871 to 30th January 1948. The Wright brothers, Orville Wright and Wilbur Wright, were American aviation pioneers generally credited with the inventing, building, and flying the world's first successful airplane. At age 32, Orville piloted the first successful powered, controlled flight on December 17, 1903. The Wright brothers had changed the world after 1903. Their attention was devoted solely to aviation. By 1908, they formed airplane companies in Europe and America, and by 1910 they had taught the world how to fly. After building and testing three full-sized gliders, the Wrights' first powered airplane flew at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, on December 17, 1903, making a 12-second flight, traveling 36 meters (120 feet) with Orville piloting. The best flight of the day, with Wilbur at the controls, covered 255.6 meters (852 feet) in 59 seconds. Today is date anniversary of Mr. Nathuram Premi, 26 November 1881 to 30th January 1960. Nathuram Premi was an Indian writer, publisher, poet, editor, and linguist in the field of Jainism as well as Hindi literature. A budding poet, he wrote under the nom de plume of Premi, although belonging to the Digambara sector of Jainism. He adopted a non-sectarian attitude and published and translated many Digambara as well as Shwetambara works. Working as a clerk in a farm in Mumbai, he rose to establish his own publishing house and bookstore, Hindi Granth Ratnakar Karalai, which published works of many of the biggest names in Indian literature, including Munshi Premchand, Hajari Prasad Dwivedi, Jainendra Kumar Jaspal, Swami Sattabhakto, Sarat Chandra Chatterjee, and Rabindranath Tagore. The bookshop and publishing house, now called Hindi Granth Karalaya, is now being managed by his grandson and great-grandson 100 years after its establishment. Today is death anniversary of Pandit Makhanlal Chaturvedi, 4th April 1889 to 30th January 1968. Pandit Makhanlal Chaturvedi, also called Panditji, was an Indian poet, writer, essayist, playwright, and a journalist who is particularly remembered for his participation in India's national struggle for independence and his contribution to Chayavad, the neo-romanticism movement of Hindi literature. He was awarded the first Sahitya Akademi Award in Hindi for his work Him Tarangini in 1955. The Government of India awarded him the civilian honor of the Padma Bhushan in 1963 for his works reinforcing Indian nationalism during the British Raj. He is referred to as the Juk Charan. Today is birth anniversary of Mr. Franklin D. Roosevelt, 30th January 1882 to 12th April 1945. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, also known as FDR, was the 32nd President of the United States, serving from 1933 until his death in 1945. He is the longest serving US President and the only one to have served more than two terms. His initial two terms were centered on combating the Great Depression, while his third and fourth saw him shift his focus to America's involvement in World War II. A member of the prominent Delano and Roosevelt families, Roosevelt was elected to the New York State Senate from 1911 to 1913 and was then the Assistant Secretary of the Navy under President Woodrow Wilson during World War One. Roosevelt was James M. Cox's running mate on the Democratic Party's ticket in the 1920 US presidential election, but Cox lost to Republican nominee Warren G. Harding. In 1921, Roosevelt contracted a paralytic illness that permanently paralyzed his legs. Partly through the encouragement of his wife, Eleanor Roosevelt, he returned to the public office as governor of New York from 1929 to 1933, during which he promoted programs to combat the Great Depression. In the 1932 presidential election, Roosevelt defeated President Herbert Hoover in a landslide victory. During his first 100 days as president, Roosevelt spearheaded unprecedented federal legislation and directed the federal government during most of the Great Depression, implementing the New Deal, building the New Deal coalition, and realigning American politics into the fifth party system. He created numerous programs to provide relief to the unemployed and farmers while seeking economic recovery with the National Recovery Administration and other programs. He also instituted major regulatory reforms related to finance, communications, and labor, and presided over the end of Prohibition. In 1936, Roosevelt won a landslide re-election. He was unable to expand the Supreme Court in 1937. The same year, the Conservative coalition was formed to block the implementation of further New Deal programs and reforms. Major surviving programs and legislation implemented under Roosevelt include the Securities and Exchange Commission, the National Labor Relations Act, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, and Social Security. In 1940, he ran successfully for re-election before the official implementation of term limits. Following the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, Roosevelt obtained a declaration of war on Japan, when in turn Japan's Axis partners, Nazi Germany and Italy, declared war on the US on December 11, 1941. He secured additional declaration of war from the United States Congress. He worked closely with other national leaders in leading the Allies against the Axis powers. Roosevelt supervised the mobilization of the American economy to support the war effort and implemented a Europe First strategy. He also initiated the development of the first atomic bomb and worked with the other Allied leaders to lay the groundwork for the United Nations and other post-war institutions. Even coining the term United Nations, Roosevelt won re-election in 1944 but died in 1945 after his physical health seriously and steadily declined during the war years. Since then, several of his actions have come under criticism, such as his ordering of the internment of Japanese Americans. Nonetheless, historical rankings consistently place him among the three greatest American presidents. Today is birth anniversary of Mr. Max Thaler, 30th January 1899 to 11th August 1972. Max Thaler was a South African American virologist and physician. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1951 for developing a vaccine against yellow fever in 1937, becoming the first African-born Nobel laureate. Born in Pretoria, Thaler was educated in South Africa through completion of his degree in medical school. He went to London for postgraduate work at St. Thomas Hospital Medical School and at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, earning a 1922 diploma in tropical medicine and hygiene. That year, he moved to the United States to do research at the Harvard University School of Tropical Medicine. He lived and worked in that nation the rest of his life. In 1930, he moved to the Rockefeller Foundation in New York, becoming director of the virus laboratory. Thank you very much for your patience. Request for like, comment, subscribe, and share.